Welcome everybody to another edition of Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are, November 22nd, 2022. Lots of twos in there. So I'm glad you guys are joining us tonight. My name is Ken Close. I'm a Healy World member like most of you, engineer by trade, but epigenetic engineer by design. And I'm joined tonight with Jake Barron, our head of operations of Americas. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you're joining from, everybody.
Wherever you are now or going to hear this recording later.
Exactly, yeah.
Greetings from your present moment. We have, I think, who is in our background from our customer service is... Tonight
Bob Taylor was joining. Let me double check here. So
all right, I'm not seeing her yet or customer service yet, but anyway, we're gonna have a customer service person in the background. So make sure you guys know that all your answers are gonna come tonight. Magically, I can see it. For you guys that are new, welcome, by the way, first of all. For you that are not, you already know the drill. But new folks, what we do here is this is a chat-based forum where you put your questions in the chat, and then Jake and myself and or our customer service agent in the background will unpack those questions and solve the mysteries in present moment. So it's a lot of fun. Sometimes we get a little bit deep, but hey, that's where we learn stuff. So, the chat is where we do it. What we can't do is we can't treat, diagnose, suggest any microcurrent programs for any diseases, disorders, or dysfunctions, but we do have an app for that. So we can even talk about that as well. So anyway, welcome. How about we get the party started?
Let's go.
All right, everybody. So Dean says, I have a couple of questions for tonight's meeting. Yeah, hit them up, type them in there, Dean, and let's unpack those from the chat, and we'll get these guys figured out for you. I love questions. You know, the Healy technology has essentially moved the needle in what's possible within now quantum technology. So it's not unusual that we get some pretty good questions regarding how this stuff works. It's new. We're still teaching and learning. So I'm ready to do that. Okay. So Dean's question is, I am 100% pacemaker dependent. I'm also electro hypersensitive. Okay. I do not do well in the presence of wireless radiation. So, you know, Healy does have a contraindicator for any microcurrent treatments being used on anyone with pacemaker. However, with the coil, it's a little bit different. So when someone is electrohypersensitive, in other words, sensitive to electro energy. So what's that mean? So magnetic energy is all around us to some degree. We have what's called EMF, or electromagnetic frequencies, all around us. I mean, it's a natural occurring phenomenon as well as a not natural occurring phenomenon. We've man-made some stuff, but depending on one's sensitivity, it could be annoying. It could be even counterproductive. But a lot of what Healy does, I mean, in terms of being able to adjust its intensity, can be no more than ambient influence. What that means is even the lights in our house, the sun's radiation, radio station transmitters, all kinds of things emit electrostatic or magnetic energy. So Healy can be turned down to being no more than essentially within the boundaries of just the environment. So that would be something to consider, how you are adjusting some of the outputs. If we're using the coil and you turn that output all the way down, because the minimum is, well, 0%, that turns it off 100%. or 5% is the next notch up. That's a very low signal. And most of the ambient magnetic interference, things that are just in our demographic, in our city, in our town, in our house, is higher in amplitude. So, okay. So let's see. Marge is asking, can you go over when to use the coil versus the cables? We covered this one a couple of times, huh, Jake?
Oh, a couple, definitely an FAQ. So,
yep, it's in the FAQ systems of Healy, which is great. But again, it's when we talk about it, it's it's a personal preference in terms of how we want to use Healy. Healy is used, or I should say operates within 3 different demographics, or not even demographics, but energy fields. The microcurrent, which is the cables, the electrodes that are putting microcurrent or electron flow into the body from one contact point to the other contact point within the body. This is electron flow. This is actually electrical energy within the body. And the body is the conduit or the wiring circuitry in which this electron flow is orchestrated. There's a lot of science that supports the benefit of microcurrent technology. And this is why Healy uses it, to give maximum benefit or known benefit, or even scientific research proof of the benefit around the microcurrent being applied to the human body. So that's one reason that modality has been established and used within Healy. The other modality is the coil, which transmits, or I should say transduces, that electron flow into a magnetic energy, which winds up into a wave within the air, within the proximity, or within the environment. A magnetic wave in which then penetrates and permeates the surfaces around it based on its frequency. The body, essentially, if you understand that it is a transmitter of electron flow from one side to the other, left hand to right hand, one electrode to the other electrode. How's that done? It's done through a conductive body, and the conductive body is built from its water. The water, the hydration of this body, conducts electricity, it conducts energy, as well as the minerals within the body. Those are important aspects of the body in order for it to be able to transmit electrical energy, especially low amplitudes, which is what Healy does. But at the same token of being able to connect electron flow, say from one side of the body or from one point to another point in the body based on conductive electrodes, it also picks up magnetic energy like an antenna. The human body is a walking, talking, standing antenna. And so when a magnetic wave propagates across this body, or a body is influenced by a magnetic wave, it induces a current flow into the body, just like an antenna on your car. When the radio station sends a signal, it goes through magnetic waves through the atmosphere, and then that wave goes across the antenna of your car, inducing a signal, electrical signal. It creates electrical signal into the antenna, the conductive material. And that signal has information attached to it, and your radio decodes that. So same thing with a magnetic signal that goes through our bodies based on the coil of the Healy. That signal goes into the body, and there's information on that signal, and the body interprets that and then gets benefit from that, from those frequencies. The third way it's used is essentially by sending information via the frequency generator into the field of the client. This is done through the blue dot. This is done through intention. This is done through the quantum field. This is done through what people know as where we place our attention is where we place our energy. This is done in that manner. Still more of a magnetic signal, but it has an intention attached to it, different, just like quantum entanglement. That's the third modality. So I say use all three. Is one more effective than the other? I would say one is more subtle than the other. Okay. The intention field, the quantum field being the most subtle, the magnetic energy transmission from the coil being the next, And then the microcurrent transmission through the body being the least subtle, but still subtle in its influence. It's microcurrent, very subtle. Okay. All right. Next, why does Healy require location to be on, and why does the Bluetooth have to remain on? Okay, so Dean's question, number one, location is this, the apps and the system is multilingual. And so if you don't turn that on, the default language is going to be German. And so everything's going to be in German. And you're going to wonder, why can I not read this? So turn your location services on so we can actually find who you are, and based it on that content, know more or less about the I hear people all the time saying, you know what, mine's in German. Why?
Yeah, we also have, it's also related to the Bluetooth low energy section. There's a newer FAQ in our new help center that specifically talks about the location, about the reason why location needs to be enabled for Bluetooth low energy where it doesn't for regular Bluetooth strength. So we have a new FAQ that is also discussed or mentioned in one of our new videos in our Healy Academy. There's a completely new set of videos about how to get started with the new Healy app. So those are excellent if you have not watched those yet. So I'm going to put those links here into the chat if you want to go ahead and check those out.
Yeah, Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE is its name, is the lowest energy transmitted by a Bluetooth interface device, and it has a very short distance of transmission, said to be 32 feet from the smart device and the Healy hardware, and that's a clear line of sight. If you're, say, in one room versus another room, going behind walls or through, say, a car, you have your smart device outside the car and your Healy's on the inside the car or whatever, any obstructions will cause a lowering of transmission distance. It's a very low amplitude signal on purpose with that BLE. To the other part of your question, does the Bluetooth have to remain on? No. Once you send a program from the app to the Healy hardware has a memory location that will accept the entire program. All of the interface, all the content, all the necessities to run the program is loaded to the Healy. When you first hit the start, you can see the green light flashing quicker, the blue light flashing. That's the transfer of information. Once that's done and the program starts to run and you've set your intensities, you can turn the app off, hard close the app within your smart device, and the Healy will continue to run through its entirety of that program's protocol. So now the newer firmware 229 has the ability within the app to actually just turn the Bluetooth off. There's a little switch, a little button, a little thing at the top of the screen. How you can turn Bluetooth off, or the new Healy app, it's under the battery icon, right? That's where it's at, right, Jake? Under the battery.
To get to which part?
Turn the Bluetooth off. It's under.
Oh yeah. You click that icon's there. Yeah.
Under the battery icon,
yes.
It gives you a drop down little window, and you can turn the Bluetooth signal off right there. I don't ever turn mine off, so I can't remember where it's at. Anyway, so that's where it's at. It's there on that on the new app, and once you turn it off, just know that you can no longer adjust the intensity because the app is no longer interfacing with the Healy hardware. And then know also that you have to tap the on button twice before it re-engages that Bluetooth chip to turn it on next time. Yeah, there's a little process. All right. All right. Where are we?
Let's see.
Joan says, I have a 226 resonance, which is the firmware version 226. I'd like to upgrade to the current promotion, but I have the Success Coach, Power of 3, Natural Cycle, the original Deep Cycle on that device. So Jake mentioned on What's Up Wednesday that we could transfer those on my other device. How can I make sure this happens before I upgrade? You want to address that, Jake?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I did mention that, of course, because some people have sort of a half or almost a professional through some of the modules and things that they purchase. So, and yeah, there's not a separate discount for that sort of in between area, but you can take those modules, say Natural Cycle, Power of 3, maybe you already purchased Success Coach, and if you own another Healy, if there's another Healy device on your account, you can transfer those modules to one of those other Healys. And that way you're getting the other device that you have will be sort of have the benefit of those programs, and then you'll have a professional device with the one that's being upgraded. So to request that, you just go ahead and you put in a support ticket and tell them, you're going to want to specify you want to take the modules from this device with this serial number and transfer them to this device with this serial number. Just make sure that they're both devices are on that same account that you're putting in the request for, because you can't transfer them to someone else's account or someone else's Healy. As far as when, obviously that upgrade promo is until the 27th. So, in our offices here in the Americas are closed on Thursday and Friday this week for Thanksgiving, and then the day after. So it really just leaves tomorrow if you wanted to get them done. But you can go ahead and purchase that upgrade, and then put your ticket in, but purchase the upgrade and just let them know, hey, when you get to this ticket, please move. I had these before the upgrade, and I want to make sure that they're moved to specify that device.
Yeah, because the new professional, the Deep Cycle is Deep Cycle H. Versus you're talking about Deep Cycle.
So you won't, when you do the upgrade, you won't lose anything that you have. So say that device that you upgraded to professional would now have both of those Deep Cycles on it. It adds on. So, but if you if the professional already has some of these other modules, there's nothing else to really add on. But if there's something that you have on your device that wasn't on there, it stays there. But then you can also, again, make sure that you request that transfer for the modules that are lifetime that you want to transfer over to the other one.
So remember the process. So you have a resonance now. You do an upgrade on that resonance. You keep everything you have in addition to whatever the professional adds. Now, if you bought a whole nother professional, it's going to have what current systems are on the current professional. And really, you wouldn't need to add any of your old things to it. But again, upgrading your current resonance to a professional will keep all of its contents plus some.
Yeah. Oh, and keep in mind, I just remembered here. So one of the programs, the modules you have is Natural Cycle. That's not part of the new professional. That's not part of the old professional either. So that one you'd want to keep on that device. You wouldn't want to transfer that one off because it doesn't come with the professional. So you'd really just want to be transferring Success Coach and Power of 3 to the other device.
Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. We can elaborate more if it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks, Dean, for the update about working in broadcasting your entire life. I already know the exposure. So I'm an electronics engineer. I studied wave theory for forever. And I know what, yeah. There's not enough information out there to protect consumers or people or employees. I mean, now it's better, but anyway, I hear you. Okay. Let's see. Jill said, I would like more detailed info to help me better understand the aura analyzer. What does the red background mean? So the red, okay, so when you're doing an analysis and you're watching the app and there's two waveforms, like you're doing the resonance and you're doing the the vibrate function, right? Vibrate function. There are two wave patterns shown on the screen. And what that represents is a transmit and receive. So in other words, the read and write function of the analysis. Essentially what Healy's doing is it's reading the client's field. All right. When you're running one of these scans, it's reading the client's field. When I say the field, so first of all, the information of the client that's put in there, their picture, their name, when they were born, where they were born, gender, those kind of things are very, very valuable information to start to build essentially a GPS point in the universe. Essentially, it's looking at the quantum field, a GPS point in which to target its analysis, and that's you, right? So you have now created, based on that content, that information, a quantum entanglement between what? Well, the client and the analysis. And what's happening during this phase of vibrate or transmission, there's an interaction going on. The red or pinkish colored waveform is the transmit of frequencies to the client. The blue waveform is the read from the client to shift and adjust the transmission. It's an interactive process. It's interactive, just like how the pink dot works with you, and you're connected via the electrodes or the coil, and it's looking at the resonance of your body, adjusting frequencies to match the need of your body, and then transmitting those, right? So that's the pink dot, or the Healy, or either one of these two that's behind my shoulders here, these two apps. This is the microcurrent handling process. It's still looking at your resonant frequencies to find proper alignment with what your body needs. In the blue dot, it's just shown in waveforms. Blue meaning sending to you. I'm blue meaning reading from you, red meaning sending to you. So it's a two-way interactive street, right? Read-write function. Okay.
And there is it might not answer, again, it might not necessarily add exactly to what you were looking for, but there is an aura analysis module video in Healy Academy too. If you haven't, you might get a little bit of information out of there too if you're looking for more. So that's at that same Academy link that I put into the chat earlier. Just instead of going to the Healy app section, you would go to the Heal Advisor Analyze app section, and that video is listed there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Bernadette is asking about, put your question in the chat for us, Nadine. Thank you. Bernadette's asking about the Healy, the MagHealy, and how to, there's your answer, I think, that our tech support put in there. Hopefully that helps you. Logging into your shop, there's an order part in there. How do you get it?
Yeah, if it's been a while since you've ordered anything from Healy, last summer we changed to a new shop, so maybe they have the old link saved, possibly in the bookmarks or something.
Yeah, so there's the link in there, and you can right click on the link from your if you're on, hopefully you're on your computer, right click on the link and you can save that and then put it right into a browser and go straight there. Hopefully that helps you guys to get there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, Taylor mentioned it in the chat here, so you can also log, if you can't find your username, you can log in with your email address too into the shop. So
Awesome. All right. I'm a bit behind. Laura's giving us a little kudos. Thank you, Laura, for the additional description. Thank you very much. Okay. So Jake's putting some links in there to the Academy. Bernadette's asking about every time I open my Blue Dot, it syncs. Do I need to turn off auto sync? Yes, you can. I turn mine off and I choose to sync so that if I happen to turn my device on or my Blue Dot on and I want to do a scan right away for myself or a client or whatever, it's not trying to update in the background. And if I don't have a good Wi-Fi signal of some sort, it slows things down. So I turn this auto sync off. Don't forget though, every now and then to go in there and synchronize your content with the cloud, because all the new scans, all the new clients, all the new things you do with that Blue Dot app is only going to be on the app itself. And if you delete the app or somehow it malfunctions, that content's not stored in the cloud, so you can't retrieve it. So I suggest that you at least back up once a week, if not more, if you're using it often. Okay.
Yeah, I have my auto sync turned off, but it really depends. If you're good at remembering to sync, go ahead and turn it off. But if you're a kind of person that forgets a lot to do that process, then, and if you have a good signal in most cases, you can leave it on. If you don't have a ton of data, usually it's fairly quick.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So let's see. March says she just upgraded and now has the DNA. That's awesome. I love that program. Or I love that grouping. Do you have any advice about how to start using it? I think I want to use it to best absorb my nutrient intake. And for example, not sure what to run. So again, you can take a look at those programs. Those are groups of nutrients, and vitamins, minerals, nutrients. They're groups based on the description of that program. So in other words, there's a variety in there. There's 6 pages, 12 programs per page, 72 different programs you've got. So what do they do? Well, there's one for energy. There's one for specifics such as muscle. There's ones for different things in there. So they're going to have groupings of energetic signals for nutrients that are designed to improve the body's performance or increase cell receptor sites, bioavailability even of the content of what you're eating. So think about that. Oftentimes, some of the struggle with what we eat is not necessarily what we're eating, but the bioavailability of it, how our body's processing it or utilizing it. So if we can increase the energy of our body's cell receptor systems and create coherent energetic signals to amino acids, right? Which is some of the building blocks for muscles or some of the transport for any of the protein activities. If we could increase the bioavailability of things, that'd be beneficial, right? Well, that's essentially what it's doing. So you look at those programs, think about how intuitively you can use that. Okay. Izzy's got a little question about, I got 2 grandfather resonance and I earned a free resonance this summer. I should upgrade the new resonance, right? Yeah, the grandfathered ones are going to have quite a few programs. The new resonance is going to have fewer. So, right, for the money, same price to upgrade either one. The new resonance may be a better choice to upgrade. Okay. Toby says, we heard we can put in a ticket, pay 100 euros and upgrade, or trade in our firmware 226 device for a new hardware model by tomorrow. Is this correct? A lot of confusion around that. You want to unpack that one, Jake?
Yeah, so this is the 100 euro part is not a replacement feature just to trade in your device right now. It's tied specifically to upgrading. So if you're upgrading a device you purchased before November 2022, so before this month, from Resonance to Professional or Resonance Plus to Professional, you have the opportunity, if needed, if you're one of the very few people in the Americas that has one of these older devices, you have the opportunity to upgrade it to trade it in essentially for that €100. But you buy the upgrade first, and then you'll be contacted if it's necessary. So even if you have the oldest device we have, it can still run almost all of the programs as part of the professional. But if you want to get 100% full functionality of the professional edition, we will actually reach out to you. We know which devices there are, but even if you have 226, 99% of 226s in the US don't need to go through this process. So it's not something, chances are you don't fall into that situation. So just feel free to go ahead and upgrade, I would say at this point.
Yay.
But you can't do the €100 without doing the upgrade first. It's not a way to just to trade it in and get a new one right now.
Okay, so Nadine says, my Healy stopped taking a charge. Okay, so Nadine, step one, I want to encourage you to check your the adapter you got plugged into the wall. I would change cord and wall adapter plug-in. Just change it out and see if that does anything for you. If not, there is essentially a reset process for resetting the charge cycle of your Healy, as well as hard resetting the Healy itself. I don't know if that process was put in the chat. No, well, tech support has asked Nadine that you submit a ticket so they can assess you further with that as far as that recharge issue. There's a very rare occasion in which that needs replacement, but there is some things that tech support can help you. Hopefully you've put in a ticket in your shop page. That's done on your shop page through customer support. And there's actually a drop down sequence in which you can actually get to the problem that you're trying to report, which is charge issues. And then they'll be able to help you out with that. In fact, if you did it right now, get your ticket number and we can even shoot that into the back here and maybe help you right now. All right. So let's see. David says, don't have a MagHealy, but the Blue app had the MagHealy programs, but now they've disappeared. So there was a little bit of a sometimes, well, not sometimes, I've seen it a couple of times. Tech support starts doing some beta testing, and they forget that they're doing the beta, they're doing the beta testing in the live. And so things show up on the live platform, which shouldn't. And so people see that and they start playing with it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So I think that happened a while back. Heard that from a few people that they started seeing some things. Not to say that may not show up anyway someday. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Jake may have some secrets there.
Be back eventually. So.
All right. Yeah, it's not uncommon that some of the beta testing stuff shows up on the live performing app. All right. Okay, so let's see. Harmony from Canada. Hi, Canada. Welcome. 3 questions. Question 1. In the pain stimulation program, there are 8 programs, but while using, some of them show the same frequencies. Are there any differences or just the same? So you're right. When we are addressing pain, then a certain frequency does so. So you're right. That 0.5 is a very intentional frequency, and it'll stay the same. It's just based on, where you're applying the frequencies. Some of those are position specific, and you'll see it shows you how to connect in different places. of the body. The app actually shows that. Well, and the new app, by the way, folks, the new Healy app that's right here above this this hand right here, this new one shows a couple of variations of where to connect. For there'll be the mastoid, the brachial plexus, or local stimulation for shoulders, elbows, joints, whatever. Okay, so take a peek at what that looks like. And you'll notice that those programs load really quickly. Why? Because there's only one frequency. It's not a whole grouping. Question 2, are we going to start using earlobe electrodes in the near future? No information on that. It's just,
No,
again,
no plans in the near future to have those available in the Americas.
In the Americas. Again, this is a German technology created and started in Europe. Different regulatory systems there than here. And so question 3, if we could purchase any different shape or larger sticky pads from third party, any recommendations? Yes. The recommendations of any aftermarket or third party sticky pads is that they are designed to send information. Okay, there's different ways that we connect to the body. Some of these ways are to take energy from the body, like grounding straps. Anyone in the technical field knows how to, you've got to ground yourself when working on certain circuitry. These are designed to ground energy from the body, usually made of a different material, and the materials may not respond fast enough to frequency changes based on the material that's made out of. So it's important that if you're using it, it is something that is designed to be like a tens unit transmitting system where it's sending energy into the body. Even EKG systems are designed to read from the body, not give to the body. You follow me? So it's different. We want something that's designed to give to the body and not take from it. So there's different stuff out there and available. You'll just, and they're fairly inexpensive, so you can actually get things that, and if they, you can send them back probably if they don't work right. The key thing is that they attach to your electrodes.
Yeah, just keep in mind the Healy device is only warranted and guaranteed for the accessories that we sell. So if you're buying anything third party, just, our cables, our adhesive electrodes, the wristbands that come in it, those are the ones that are, approved for use by Healy World for, use within the app. So there's no guarantee or warranty related to any of the other add-ons.
Right. Okay. All right. So Gordon asks, the blue dot shows a Creative Homeopathy-Psyche. The Psyche. I can't find it in the pink dot. Well, it's not a microcurrent page. What's in the blue dot, the databases within the blue dot include the microcurrent programs that are on the pink dot or the Healy app, but even way more databases are available, and you won't find that that crossing the other direction. So the Heal Advisor Analyze app has many more databases available for you to do the analysis on, because there's different homeopathic things that people use and believe in, whether it be minerals or herbs or I Ching or, various types of things that people are familiar with, homeopathic remedies. And so Healy has built those into the analysis ability, which is great. So we can let the system analyze what our body needs, and then perhaps we can go out and get the substance, or just use the vibrate mode from Healy to give us the vibrational frequencies of those substances. I think it's great, but you're not going to find it the other way. There's very specific microcurrent programs designed in that Healy app. All right. Okay. So Judith is talking about a question or a concern around the Healy that keeps dying at about 50%. A new issue I had was at 76% or so, it jumped back to 99%. After that, I ran only one program and it died. Okay, when charging it, after about 4 hours, the green light started blinking, and then it went off. Then a few seconds starts blinking again. So I want you guys to know that the charging process, again, we're using various different cords. We're using different connections into the wall. We're doing a lot of different things. This is very low power charging, very low power, different than like saying connecting battery cables to the battery of your car. It's got a lot of amperage, a lot of power. Healy is very low power. Our chargers are very low power. And so it takes very little to disrupt the connection between the terminals inside that charge port and the cord itself. So you can have some variations in how it's charging, and that will influence the light, what it looks like on the display. But also to consider too, that algorithm that's showing the percentage of battery life can get out of calibration. And there's a process to recalibrate that, because if you notice it between the Healy and the app, there's no cords attached to show the app exactly how much voltage or how much power is left in the battery. It's all done through an algorithm, through an equation within the app. And that equation has a baseline. And then based on time and the amount of intensity that you have it set at, it's calculating, I should say guessing, how much battery is being consumed, right? That's what it's doing. It's not measuring exactly the battery in the Healy. It's just guessing through a very elaborate formula to tell you how much battery life is left. When you're looking at your cell phone actually has a circuit that gives feedback to the indicator of battery life. So 5% battery life left on your cell phone is actually measuring the battery in your phone. Different than, say, your Bluetooth headset. Your phone might be telling you the battery life in your Bluetooth headset, but there's no wires connected between the Bluetooth headset and the phone. So again, it's a guess. It's an algorithm. Healy's doing the same thing with the app. So you could reset that. Let's see. Customer service has put in the how-to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taylor.
Is it Taylor? Yay, Taylor. Hi,
Yeah,
Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah, she earlier, right after we mentioned that she's here. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Taylor. You're here. My favorite, by the way. Anyway, don't tell nobody. Okay.
Everybody knows, Ken. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Okay. So anyway, you can copy and paste all of that. If you're on your computer, you can copy and paste that into a Word document or something like that, so you have it forever. And another little hint, by the way, folks, if you're on your computer, not on your smart device, but if you're on your computer on this call, in the chat where you would add a chat, there's 3 little dots next to the smiley face icon. If you click on that and you say save chat, at the end of the call, it'll save all that chat for you to your computer. You have an option, you'll have a file there at the end that you can put somewhere on your computer. Maybe you throw it right on your desktop, so it's right there ready for you. Okay.
Ken, do you have any good tips for someone that's looking for ways to clean up and sort of reuse any of the adhesive electrodes? Kind of related to the person that asked the question earlier, but if you want to get more uses out of them, what would you say is the best way to preserve them?
Yeah, so I mean, there is a way. I mean, obviously, we put these sticky pads on our body, and I got hairy arms. I might be sticking. I might have a hair too, whatever. Or we may have lotions or cosmetics or whatever. I suggest you wash the area before you attach the electrodes. But can you do anything to preserve the electrodes? Yes. Can you do anything to rehydrate them? Yes. First of all, when you store them, make sure that you store them on the little clear plastic they come on. Never stick them together, but stick them back to that clear plastic and wipe that clear plastic off with a microfiber cloth. But you can actually re-energize these electrodes by running them under warm water. You're not going to hurt them. Warm water, and rub your finger, clean finger, over the surface, and you'll kind of feel it turn into a jelly. It'll feel like more jelly-like. Don't pick at it, but use the pad of your finger, rub that, and you'll see you can rub the hairs off it, or you can rub the fuzz off it, or you can kind of rehydrate, and then just shake it off. Don't towel dry it or anything like that. Just shake it off. Turn it upside down so they can air out a little bit, and then stick it back on that clear pad. And you'll be amazed at how much better they work. You can also just kind of shake them off and then stick them back to your skin if you're ready to use them again. And again, that helps a lot. So I have sticky pads that are 3 years old. I still use them. So yeah, they're pretty resilient. All right. The other questions we're working on, Jake?
We're down at the bottom here. We got somebody that's needing some help with Telegram, so we'll see if we can work on that in the background here. I'll take a look. But
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Telegram is. We've had some issues. I've gone through a pretty elaborate process of getting someone back in the Telegram group that somehow mysteriously got kicked out. And I apologize for that happening, but I don't know. I haven't been able to figure out. Telegram can't tell us what's going on, but sometimes that happens. Okay. Let's see what other we got. Another question. Without using the electrodes, this is from Dean, and not yet having a coil, how do the frequency treatments reach the user? Great question. So let's say you're just simply using the microcurrent program, right? The Healy app, either one of these pinkish color one. You're just using the Healy app. Now, and you don't have the coil. All right. So this is mine without the coil. Inside Healy, right behind the clip, is a noise generator, frequency transmitter, essentially. So it does send out those frequencies. And sometimes with a very quiet moment, you can kind of sometimes hear some of these frequencies. And it does transmit. So if you'll notice the one page that is the bioenergetic defense page, it's the blue colored page, it's the bioenergetic defense. You'll notice that it's telling you to run those programs by just simply clipping the Healy onto your coat pocket or your pants pocket, just having the Healy on your body. In other words, not even connected to the wires. And so if that's sending microcurrent, how is it getting into your body, right? Because if you do connect the electrodes to the bioenergetic defense page programs, you'll actually feel the stimulus. So how is it actually transmitting those frequencies in the body? And it's just telling you just to connect it to your body in your pocket or something. Well, that's because that frequency generator is actually sending them out of the device into its proximity, into you. So you can do that with any of these frequencies, any of these programs that have that actually transmit microcurrent frequency. Now, the pain ones that just have a solid frequency, that's kind of like you may understand the understanding of a square wave. It's just a one frequency transmission, right? There's no alteration. It's not alternating frequency. It's just one sending frequency. Those are not going to be quite as applicable in their effectiveness, but any of the other ones are going to send these varying frequencies. Even the 0.5 hertz is going to be, it's a very low frequency. The lower the frequency, the closer to density, meaning the closer to matter it is, the more amplitude it may take to get it into that matter. But again, it's a matter of run them, feel into it, The ones that are of higher frequencies and alternating frequencies, you'll feel them. They're still effective, even without the cables. Again, what I said is one's more subtle than the other, right? And if you're really sensitive, then the more subtle, the better. All right. All right. Let's see. There's a question here. If a Healy is stolen or lost, does Healy replace it at the same level? I tend to misplace things. Sorry about that. No, if it's stolen or lost, you can replace the hardware. You don't ever have to rebuy the software or the edition you have, but to replace the hardware, if it's not a warranty issue, then there is a way to replace the hardware. And that's done through your support page.
Yeah, you put in a support ticket, and then there's actually a convenient way to pay for a replacement now. We'll send you a link to get to the replacement section in our shop, and then you pick the serial number of the device that you lost that's being replaced. You'll be able to pay for it there, and then it'll automatically activate all the existing program, the ones you had on your other device, onto the new one that you receive. So it's very simple.
Yeah. Someone says is they've gotten the email list, the Healy email list. They've gotten canceled or something unintentionally multiple times. They're trying to get back on it. So there actually is a link to that email list, right? Do you have that handy, Jake? The link to the
I think I have it saved somewhere. I'll take a look. But yeah, there is a link if for some reason it's not, going through. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there's sometimes that the Healy emails are being blocked by someone's email server for whatever reason. Maybe it's the settings that they have, and they might not even realize it that it's being blocked before it even gets there. But so yeah, a couple things that could be going on. It's not necessarily the solution in this case, but it's something to take a look at.
Yeah, depending on your service, and even if ever one of those Healy emails has gone to your spam or your junk mail, then it stays there as that email address winds up being tied to junk, and then you have to actually change it. Change that address so that it's no longer in your junk mail, or it'll keep going there. And I always suggest people check your junk mail to make sure that it's actually not going there anyway, and then get it out. All right. So Bonita says it never went to junk. Okay. So hopefully we can find that link, and you can just jump back in to that link and be added back to that email list. And if it still won't come through, then there's got to be something blocking it. I don't know what, but something within your service, your email platform. All right, let's see. Dina has another question here. Is there a benefit to be grounded while you're using the Healy? I suggest grounding afterwards. Is there a benefit to it while you're doing it? I don't know that there's not a detriment, but you're running microcurrent through the body, but it's going from essentially one point to another point. So if you're grounded, your body's grounded to ground, you're not really grounding that energy. You're still running it through the body. The benefit comes from after. So I suggest, I have what I call a self-care protocol. The self-care protocol is essentially 4 parts. Well, there's 5, but 4 parts. Number 1 is hydration. Making sure that your body is properly hydrated and mineralized, or AKA electrolytes. And a proper hydration is half your body weight in ounces of water every day. That's just a baseline. If we're more active fitness wise, then more. If we have more body weight, then more. If we're in a more dry or hot environment, then more. But still, baseline, half your body weight in ounces of water every day. Number 2 is movement. Movement of the body. That helps engage the lymphatic system, helping to expel and integrate nutrients within and out of the lymphatic system. Number 3 is grounding. To ground after each program. I highly recommend grounding after each program, just to allow the body to decelerate the electron flow. Ground it. And then number 4 is, well, of course, breathing is a big one. Increasing your full breaths, helping to oxygenate and swing our vagal tone out of the stress response to the rest response. And then number 5 is actually just mental, finding a reason to fall in love with life, enjoying the present moment. That's a big one, because our mental blocks can create a lot of disharmony with our healing. So there we go. All right. Okay, so let's see. Is it Carol? Has a question. I have the resonance device. On the pink, I see a lot of programs, but how do I know what to run? Well, that's a great question, because actually the resonance analysis allows us to run a full analysis based on all the Healy programs and give us a very distinct blueprint as to what to run. So there is some great stuff in the academy on how to set yourself up as a client, how to run the Heal Advisor Analyze functions, and that kind of thing. So I say spend some time in the Healy Academy. It's gotten so much better. It's amazing. So spend some time in there and actually take a look at how that. I suggest going through all those videos. Go to Healy School, because I guarantee you a lot of that's going to be answered for you. Okay. Jake put the link in there for the newsletter. Hopefully that works for you. Click on that, and if it's, add yourself to the newsletter and then see what happens. All right. So there's a thanks for you and I, Jake. Thank you guys for the
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Love it. If my mom has a pacemaker, is it safe for me to help her using the distance healing using the coil? Yeah, I mean, there's no contraindicators for coil or distance using the resonance. Yeah, I say let's help everybody. Let's help as many people as we can. Well, guess what, guys? We are at the end of our hour. Oh my gosh, that was, I feel like I was doing a lot of talking. Oh, I was. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys being here. Great questions, by the way, tonight. This recording is going to be on the YouTube page with sectioned out by questions, so you can go back and take a look. Again, you know how to save the chat. If you want to save that, there's some great links in there. You can keep that forever and ever. So for those of you who are part of our weekly calls, no What's Up Wednesday call tomorrow in observation of the Thanksgiving holiday. So no What's Up Wednesday tomorrow, and we don't have a Healing for Beginners and Beyond this time. But definitely go check out the recordings of the ones from last week, and there's tons of content there for you guys to absorb. So until next week, have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, everyone. Many blessings, many loves, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.